Thank you very much, Srilal. At this point, if I can ask the audience if there are any questions, we'll take 1 or 2 questions. If you could raise your hand, we'll try and get a microphone across to you.
The second point, there are some good stories that maybe I missed, quite honestly. Cinnamon Wild is doing a lot with the leopards. They are helping the villagers to pen their cattle in the night so that the leopard problem is less. So there are some good initiatives being done. The Loris conservation program at Villuyana, it's a great initiative there. So yes, you're right, I should have brought some of those examples. And second, what your first question was? Vilpattu, yes, okay, don't worry. What I'm saying is we must do it in a sustainable manner. Right now I'm going to do some training there at with the jeep drivers. At least spread it a little bit more. Yes, I understand what you say. From an environment point of view, I'll keep Vilpattu without touching it so that I could go for it. But anyway, there is a little bit of interest being generated now.
Ask you one question about your icon. You know, it's in regard to the dwindling population of the elephants, from 15,000 to 5,000 today. And what's happening? Is there a concerted effort to save that icon? I was very impressed by the entirety of your coverage, but let's see what could be done. Is there any effort being made by both the state authorities and the private sector, which is helping very much, and from the private sector? But how is it now? What's going on? Do you think that this will, I have read your articles overseas, on your visits to overseas, places where, in the African continent, for example, where a lot of wildlife protectionist methods are available, are found. What's happening in this country?
Okay. It's a difficult question to answer because everything comes under the Department of Wildlife. But I must say now, there is a move to engage us a lot. The fact that we were called in to sit and give a solution to Yala would not have happened. We wouldn't have dreamt of it. Because the Wildlife Department thinks they know everything and they do it and they don't do it. So that's a big thing, that at least a report we were called for by the private sector, few of us. There are different levels at which we are engaging. I think it's moving forward, but it's a complex task. That itself will be another lecture if you want, or the human-elephant conflict. It is not something that you can solve simply. It's a very complex problem because of the villagers being settled, the political issues there, the whole thing, you know, the mapping of these elephant corridors, the elephant managed conservation area. So it's a complex problem to solve. So as you said, yes, all stakeholders have to get together, and I think the push must come from the top. I think, like I take the example how India managed their tiger, that tiger project. I think it was Indira Gandhi, who took it on herself that she's going to look after this tiger and pushed it down everyone's throat, right? And it went down. So some thing must happen, because it's all government, or the private sector can do only a little bit, like the little things that I was doing, I am happy that I did something in all this, but it's not big. Looking for Raja, walking around looking for lost elephants, or helping like that. So it needs a bigger solution there.
Thank you for the brilliant speech. My question is, you mentioned about the big four and the big five in Africa, but I'd like to state that we have the big five, that is the blue whale and the sperm whale. Then the other animals you talked of, within 50 miles. Within 50 miles you could see all of them. Now in Africa you certainly can't see the big five within 50 miles. And in America, a friend of mine well-to-do friend of mine took a cruise to see the whale. And he spent 7 days before he could see a whale. We could spend half an hour before you can see 2 types of whales, the blue whale and the sperm whale.
Thank you. I know there has been, Gehan has discussed with me that we should go with the big five, but my only concern is the same species. You know, normally when you have big five, it's 5 different species. So the sperm whale and the blue whale. So then I talked to Dr. Devaka. I'm not an academic, so I go and get help from these guys. Whether we can bring in another animal like the buffalo or the crocodile. But certainly, yes, the best thing is to go big five, because the positioning in the prospect's mind is big five. That's the easiest slot to get into. So yes, we can look at that. We are talking about it now. What is the easiest animal that can fall into this? Because I'm not quite sure that you can have sperm, the same species, 2 animals.
Thank you very much, Srilal. I think at this point, I think we should try to conclude. Because there are people who want to get home. Some people want a cup of tea. But I'm sure you can ask more pointed and direct questions of Srilal, because he'll probably spend a little time before running home at that point. And just quickly before I hand over to Rohan, like Shanaka said, I think a lot of the conservationists would like Wilpattu to be left alone. And I think that's a sort of a general trend. But I think more importantly, if the conservation community can put pressure on the government or the people that take decisions to actually put in a better system into Wilpattu before it goes mad, like what has happened at Yala. Because we are aware that while the recommendation to close Yala down for 3 months was put up by a committee appointed by the Prime Minister, there's another powerful minister from down south, you can guess who it is. Once the Yala National Park Block 1 opened, in under the time that they have given it 2 months to be closed, but actually they're not allowing that to happen. And I think either yesterday or today they're trying to open Yala. And because the idea was to divert traffic to blocks 3, 4 and 5. But unfortunately, in politics, they don't stick to the decisions that have been recommended by the specialists and experts. So having said that, I'll hand over to Rohan to give a vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranil. Before I thank Srilal, just to thank our sponsors for today, Nations Trust Bank, CJ and team at Sarva Advertising, ProImage, TJ and Brand Dixon, of course, Dilma, who are going to slake our thirst, help us slake our thirst later. And also to all members of the society who have paid your subs. Thank you to you. I will thank those who haven't at the next meeting as soon as you do that. Right, I'm so pleased to, this vote of thanks is given by the President, Rukshan Jayawardena. Unfortunately today he's out of the country. So I'm very pleased to be here in his place, because I had some insight into what Srilal presented today, thanks to the former DG of the DWC, Sumit Pilapitiya, who gave me some insight. And I advocated very strongly that Srilal be invited today, because we are all here because we love elephants, we love wild animals, we have aesthetic, cultural, all these reasons. But in today's society, today with our leadership, we have to also give them the numbers, the facts, the figures. And I think Srilal did that extremely well today. He showed how much the elephant and all the other animals are worth to this country and why we should preserve them. Our economy needs them. We need them. And if I can just take a couple of minutes, Srilal, from your notes, we are also ignoring the social consequences, the social policies involved in having wildlife. Like Srilal, I've had a love affair with Udavalawe for the last 25 years. And Srilal, you must remember when we first went there, there was nothing there. To fill up fuel, you had to go to Godakavela or Ambilipitiya. To hotel, I think there was only the Centuria in Ambilipitiya. Right? Today, there are hotels. There's even one hotel that claims to be 4-star or 3-star. And there are numerous, I think 120 odd hotels and things in Udavalawe. There are petrol stations there. There are, cooperative stores there. You can buy everything. Those days you had to take even our water from Colombo. Today, all that is available there. And that's due to one thing alone, the Udavalawe National Park and the elephants who are there. And I don't know whether Srilal has done an analysis at Udavalave, but what was interesting to note at Minneria and at Yala is that the income made by the department almost matches that made by the jeep drivers. So that is how much these national parks contribute to the local economies. And sadly, Udavalave is dying. You could see when we first went there, you'd go on to Ulankapolla, and there'd be 200-300 elephants in an evening. And we'd be the only people there, right? Today, I was there last weekend, and before I left the park, 250 jeeps had entered the park. But the park is dying due to bad management, due to politics, due to 30,000 buffalo, domestic buffalo being in there. The whole habitat has changed. And from grassland, it's changing to scrubland. And the elephants at Udavalave are starving. Now, if they disappear, apart from the great tragedy it'll be for Sri Lanka that it has lost this enigmatic species from there, what is it going to do to the local economy? The hotels, the jeep drivers, all the other little kades, the little boutiques that make money out of this, that will all disappear. And it is for that reason, for opening this whole discussion and bringing it to you, that I particularly must thank Srilal today. He's not a run-of-the-mill tourist sort of director and propagandist. He loves animals, and I've known this for a long time. And if he sees my phone, my, what do you call it, the picture on the front of the phone is of Valave Raja, who I've had many magical hours with. And that's what moves him. And, you know, and he wants to brand these animals, not purely for the commercial exploitation of them, but for their preservation for Sri Lanka and for the future. And so thank you so much, Srilal, for being here with us. And maybe we'll thank Sri Lanka for keeping in elephants one day. Thanks so much. And we have a little token of appreciation for Srilal, which Ranil will do the needful.